Hi, everyone. I'm Molly. I'm the Executive Director here at the REL National Association. I am here with Les Simpson with Wellness Tech Plus. He's going to be talking about a couple of devices. Are you talking about both of them tonight, Les?
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of devices that have changed his life and his health and his family. And he thinks they can definitely help you guys in your care homes. They can help your residents. They can help your staff and so much more. And there's so much more to this than even that. So I will get into a little bit of details. Over on the right-hand side, there's a questions tab in your control panel. You can type questions to me at any point in time during the presentation, and I will answer them to my best ability. And then towards the end of the presentation, that's where you can type in your questions, and I'll make sure Les answers those questions towards the end. If you have trouble hearing, there's also other audio options. If you click on the audio tab, you can always call in. If you can't see the slides, sometimes you need to click down on the icon for Go to Webinar, and that'll bring the slides back. So just a couple of things that I hear sometimes that can help you ahead of time not have to panic and ask questions, right? So Les, thank you for being here with us, and I will let you take it away.
Okay. Well, first off, thanks everybody for coming this evening. And if you were here last month, then you got a basic overview of these technologies. But tonight we're actually going to go through specifics, not generalities, on how they can be used to increase your care of your residents and at the same time separate your home from others and your family also. I think you'll find these are pretty amazing technologies. Go ahead and switch the slide. And the title, that's one of the things I want to go over the first off. Digitized nutrition. 6 ways to improve absorption while decreasing the cost of supplements. Now, of course, and I'm going to go through an article here in a minute, is why absorption is so important. But of course, the other part is decreasing the high cost of supplements. And I'm not sure in your home if you control the supplements that your residents get, if they buy them separate or what, that I'm learning about this. But the 6 ways to improve absorption, we're definitely going to go through, and you'll determine how much we can cut the cost. Next slide. The Eastern University of Boston put this article out, that older adults, there's 9 nutrients that they may be missing. And there's 2 reasons for that. First off, as it says, their appetite goes down. And so each calorie really needs to be full of nutrition, which is very difficult to do. So we need to support that nutrition. The other thing is as far as the 9 nutrients specific that we're going to be talking about. Next slide. The 9 nutrients that are not absorbed well: B12, folate, folic acid, calcium, vitamin D, potassium, magnesium, fiber, omega-3, and water. Now, my wife is a certified nutritionist. When I showed her this, that these are the ones that seniors are not absorbing, she informed me that these are the basics to health, and we all need this. And a lot of people is not absorbing, and that's why they have supplements. And so we'll be able to transfer the expensive supplements of these nutrients to digitization, and we'll get into that. Next slide. Now we're going to go through the essence of these questions that I asked, and hopefully everybody read. First off, would you lose less supplements if more active ingredient entered the cell? This is going to be the theme tonight, if we can get more active ingredient into the cell and how we can do it. If it were easier to enter the cell, would you need mixtures that were less expensive that make absorption easier? There's so many compounds out there that try to let you know that they'll absorb easier. They're more expensive. if the food we digest was able to add more active ingredient to the cell, in other words, better digestion. That's another thing that we're going to be talking about. And that's one of the things to let everybody know. I'm going to be referring, there's going to be some people in nonprofits on this, and the Veterans Administration that I invited today, because some of these you're going to be able to do long distance. And I have nonprofits that would love to do 30 or 40 veterans that can't afford what we're going to be talking about. So an organization can do it for them. And that's going to kind of blow your mind when we get there. The future of medicine. Now, the next is if there was another way. Okay, we lost it. There we go. It came back. If there was another way to supply active ingredients to the cells besides having them digest through the stomach. One of the things I've read articles, and you probably have too, of how much problems the stomach goes through trying to digest all these supplements we're giving it, and 10 to 20% enters the cells. The rest of it is pretty expensive supplements. And if you could go directly to the cells for the absorption of the ingredient instead of the more expensive under the tongue supplements. And finally, if you were able to monitor the body daily, hourly, to determine what supplement each organ needed. And these are what we're going to be talking about of the future medicine. So we're advanced Star Wars, folks, but it's here now, and we're going to be getting into that. Next slide. The other part is the digestive system. Now, first off, I need to do a disclaimer here. I'm going to tell you what the FDA says that these devices can do. But what they don't say we cannot do in any way is repair disease from anything that in the body. It's for healthy. And so the digestive system here, disclaimer, is these are the digestive system. And again, this is what my wife said, this is what we rely on to get the ingredient into our blood so it can be transported by the blood into the cell. So that we need to support this to have proper digestion. Next slide. We're going to take a poll here. Interesting. Okay. 20% have problems believing the blood flow can be increased to digest in the cell. I understand that. More active ingredients directly into the cell without digesting. Again, we're in Star Wars. In this, basically, if you ever watch Star Wars or Star Trek or whatever about the future of medicine. And digestion works better. That's the only one we can't guarantee, that the digestion system will work better. And we can't guarantee that because of the FDA. We cannot heal anything to make it work better. But the rest of it, we can. We can guarantee more blood flow. We can guarantee more ingredients into the cells. We can, so those are the areas. Okay, let's go forward. Next, next slide. And this is why. Now, first off, these are FDA cleared class 2. Now, what that means, when you hear FDA registered, you've heard of all kinds of vitamins and different things saying they're FDA registered and they might work, they might not. You have to determine if you want them. FDA class 2 says it will work for something. And the FDA, we've gone through 40,000 pieces of tests to show the FDA. But the content of the digital nutrition app does not constitute medical device, which can only be provided by a medical professional. The substances, food, and the Healy programs displayed are recommendations, and they cannot be used, suspect food intolerances, deficiencies, allergies, or medical conditions, and all that should be consulted a physician. The two things we can say, which is coming up, and the Healy Watch, which I'm going to discuss in a minute, is again not a substitute for medical advice. Medical advice can only be provided by a medical professional, but it is a medical device in what it does. Next slide. Now, our agenda tonight. I want to reveal to you the ultimate self-care system. Now, if you are the owner of an assisted living facility, most of the self-care is gone because they're in your facility. If I have some home care people on here, if I have veterans that people aren't in a facility at this point, then the ultimate self-care matters, because two medical devices allow people to really take care of their self in the way they never have before. We're going to introduce the two devices that you can bring home, and it'll set your home apart, and it actually going to become a very large second profit center if you'd like it. With an investment of $5,380, right now there's a sale on until September 31st. That's out of date. For $4,380 for the Beamer, you can provide healthy aging and muscle recovery in 8 minutes twice a day. We'll get into that. That's the increased blood flow. In fact, if you look up the American Heart Association says under disease, says all disease starts with reduced blood flow in the micro blood vessels. With the facility investment of $2,500 for the Healy, you'll be able to provide both acute and chronic pain relief. That's what the FDA says. Chronic pain relief, chronic arthritis pain through frequency therapy naturally. That's the FDA. And how this can become an actual second or a major profit center servicing your residents, their families, and other facilities that want to be on the forefront of this technology. And both can be, these two numbers together can be financed for about $160 a month through SunTrust Bank. So if you really like what you see and you want to give your residents this, it'll cost you $160 a month. Next slide. Now, when we talk about the big business and the future of healthcare, which I keep mentioning to you, GSK, which is the 9th largest pharmaceutical company in the world, and Google went together last year, formed a partnership to bring, they said the place of new medicine is working with the electrical system of the body. They put $715 million into research into the body to find out how to work with it. Well, the two technologies, Beamer and Healy, are decades ahead of them and here now. That's why it's the healthcare of the future. In fact, my next webinar on the 29th of September is going to be about partnering with this trillion-dollar industry. And I won't be going into that tonight. If you want information on the side, contact me. But we have people that have made $100 million, 80 of them, that have got in distributors of the Healy because it is the future of pain management in the world and the next investment. Next slide. The body's electrical system is the future of medicine. Now, the 4 solutions I'm going to be showing you tonight is all the more the ingredients If we get it into the blood and we get it into the cells, the system becomes more healthy. More blood flow means more digested ingredient into the cells. And this is the one that 60% of the people didn't think was possible. You're going to get your mind opened and blown tonight. Digestive system works better. Again, we can't guarantee that if it's a diseased digestive system. All we can do is support it. If it did work better, then more active ingredient enters the blood. More active ingredient directly into the cell without digesting. Now that's the part that we're going to be in Star Wars, because what you're going to see tonight is actual digitized frequency that can go into your cells without going through the stomach. And monitoring the body daily for its nutrition needs. These are the things that are the future of medicine. Next slide. Now, I need to give you a disclaimer on the Beamer. None of the statements in Beamer marketing and education, and this is a marketing disclaimer. Again, it's class 2, FDA class 2 cleared. None of the statements in Beamer marketing and education materials or website have been evaluated by the FDA. They're not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Furthermore, none of the statements should be construed as dispensing medical advice, making claims regarding the cure of diseases, nor can these products prevent or cure any disease state. You should consult a licensed healthcare professional before using any health protocol or health device, including Beamer, especially if you're pregnant or have any pre-existing injuries or medical conditions. But Beamer products are in no way a substitute for medical care. Statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. However, Beamer products are FDA cleared, which means your doctor can recommend it. In fact, to give you a little history, Beamer's been in the United States for 4 years. Many doctors have been referring it under the cover or behind the door or whatever to their patients because it's been helping them out, but the FDA did not like it. And in fact, we have a cardiologist in Chicago that was recommending it to his patients. The hospital found out. He said, you cannot mention Beamer during your time at the hospital, but he got a special deal that he could do it at night. Well, now it's FDA cleared too, so now he can actually sell it. FDA cleared makes all the difference. Next slide. Now, Beamer produces better circulation, better health, and better life. And it's the simplest device there is. Next slide. In fact, my Beamer story. My wife, as I mentioned, is a certified nutritionist. 2.5 years ago, she has sleeping problems. And a doctor recommended she look at the Beamer. Well, she came home and told me about it, and she told me the price. At that point, it was $6,500. And she's a certified nutritionist. I said, find something else. And 6 months later, another doctor recommended it. So I thought, okay, we better look into this thing. I thought it was brand new and so forth. Talked to my upline and found out it was in Europe and 42 countries for 20 years. It's in 4,000 hospitals and clinics. In fact, a NATO hospital puts every single one of their patients through it daily, does 350 sessions. And it came to the United States 4 years ago, and it's in sports, and I'll get into that. So I found out the Swiss Olympic team endorsed it. There was thousands of athletes, so then I decided to buy it and brought it home. And within before, I had absolutely no circulation between my knees and my ankles. My skin was a gray. In fact, if it got scratched, it took 6 to 12 weeks to heal that scratch. Well, within 6 weeks, my legs were red. The circulation, and that's what it does, improved circulation 29%. A microcirculation, my legs were back to red. Next slide. Now, This is where the biggie is. In 2015, NASA contacted Beamer because they developed all the PEMF devices, pulse electric magnetic frequency devices, and to increase blood flow for the astronauts. And they were trying to increase better technology, and their attorneys called them and said, you can't go any further. The Germans have already done it. So they called us and asked us to work with them to put it in the spacesuits. At this point, it looks like it's going to Mars. We've been working with them for 4 years. And as you can see the date on that, we just renewed the deal for more technology. Next slide. And the reason this is so outstanding is the fact that NASA has developed all the PMF devices, all the ones out there that are for sale now, but not the Beamer. And this tells about the PMF devices, if you read that, of why they're so important. They kind of do a reset on the cell and allow it to absorb much more nutrients, and I'll get into that in a minute. Next slide. Beamer really is a revolutionary, a disruptive technology. Next slide. I just realized we're not going to be able to have the movie on this because you haven't. Oh, wow. The future's now, bioenergy therapy. And next slide. Yeah, we're not going to be able to have the movie. What is Beamer? Beamer is a patented medical device. It enhances, this is according to the FDA, it enhances local blood flow, fitness, and vitality, and supports healthy aging. As I've already mentioned, sports is using it, NASA's using it, one of your favorite football teams, Patriots. One of the reasons they've been winning so much is he's been using it for 4 years, but we won't pay him $5 million to represent it. And unfortunately, his players haven't. Next slide. And we have many celebrities. This one you probably recognize, Brooke. Many celebrities have been using it for 4 years. And next slide. And medical and scientific research. For you folks, needless to say, NASA is about as big top scientist there is. And they checked it all out before they came to Beamer and said, okay, we want to work with you. But if you'd like to look at all the scientific papers, there's over 36 peer-reviewed papers for everything you could possibly think of. You go to these sites, pubmed.gov or scholar.google.com, and put in Beamer vascular therapy. There's also another one, if you Google the Hague, H-A-U-G report, and it's got all kinds of nice color pictures of what the Germans use it for. So it's all there. If you like scientific research, you've got plenty to keep going. Next slide. Now, why is microcirculation so hard to do? First off, when we think of our blood system, most of us think of our arteries and veins. And of course, this is what the doctors can work on. So that's what we know about them. But actually 74% of all our vessels are microvessels, less than 1/10 of a hair wide. And needless to say, there's nothing that the doctors can do for that. And in fact, if you strung all those out in your body, you'd have 74,000 miles of them. Well, the heart gets the blood through the arteries and the veins. But when it gets to these microvessels, 74,000 miles, it can't do it. And so the microvessels have their own pumping system that pumps it into the cells. And next slide. And this is the video that I don't have. And I was going to show you a video of the pumping blood here and actually what the Beamer does, because, and I will show you a graph but I was going to show you the movie of how it increases micro blood flow. In 2 minutes, your blood is moving faster. And in a graph, I'm going to show you 29% in 3 days. Next slide. And talk about simple. This is what blows all the sports people's mind. This little pad here, it's 4 inches wide, 3 foot long, and you put it on your body, and it has these signals that go through and allows all your, the FDA says all of your muscle, that's soft and skeletal. Your soft muscle is all of your organs. They all have microscopic muscles in them that operate the capillaries. And this is what we do is we get it pumping. Next slide. 8 minutes twice a day. And the miracle happens. You've got 29% more circulation. And this is clinically proven. And this is what's going to NASA. The reason they're doing it is it protects all this, the astronauts from muscle and bone disintegration, atrophy in space. I don't know if you're aware of it, but when people come off the space station, it takes 12 to 18 months usually for them to recover from what's happened to their muscles and their bones. They're hoping this will cut that down at least 50%. Next slide. Now, this is all the other PMF devices, sinusoidal, square, triangle, sawtooth. In fact, when you go on Google and Google the Hague report, you're going to have a bunch of other PMF devices that say they're as good as Beamer. The only problem is they can't prove anything, and they're much cheaper, and so they're selling on price. This is the Beamer patented wave. It has 5 international patents. And as you can see, it's quite different. Now I'll show you what that different does. Next slide. These are the other devices. After a day, as you can see, increased oxygen flow in the blood because it allows more blood, 5% more blood to get into the cells. After the 2 days, it was 10%, and after 3 days, it leveled off. And then here's the Beamer. As you can see, after 3 days, we're up to 30%. Nobody touches us. And now they shut it off here. As you can see, these went down to 0. The Beamer, once a treatment happens, it lasts 12 to 18 hours. And again, that's part of the patent. So once you shut it off, it continues. And for another day, and it was still above everything else. Next slide. Now, these are the sports people that love it. When you have 30% more oxygen, if you think about what's in your blood, oxygen, the nutrients, the supplements you take, the white blood cells, and when they're 30% more is transported to the cells than was before, these athletes are finding they've smashed records by 20%. And 8 minutes in the morning, 8 minutes at night. If you can imagine this guy taking and grabbing the top of the pad and take this behind his back and just have it there for 8 minutes, that's the treatment. And that's as easy as it can get for all your residents. Just 8 minutes in the morning and 8 minutes at night. Next slide. Now, tell you a little bit about Beamer. They were founded in 1998. They're in 40 plus countries. In fact, that's one of the points I want to make here. 40 plus countries, no debt. Tell me any other company that is in 40 plus countries and no debt. As far as I know, it doesn't exist. 5 international patents, privately owned. But this is something I also want to mention to you. As I already told you, the cost of this, except for right now on promotion, is $5 grand, $48.90. How many do you think actually send it back? if you're aware of most sales on something like that, they probably have a 25% return. We have less than 1%. And by the way, once you buy it, you have 30 days to check it out. So you pay your $4,000 and you have 30 days to check it out. If you decide you don't want it, the only thing you pay is 10% restocking. So for $400, you can try this in your facility. And if you don't like it, you send it back. But again, only 1 out of 1,250 send it back. Your residents are going to love it. Your employees are going to love it. Next slide. Now, a little bit more about Beamer. It is used worldwide. We have over 2 million customers, used in hospitals, clinics, and universities, used by all the many professional athletes. There is no side effects except for you detox too quick if you use it too quick, and we have different things to show you on that. Of course, we're working with NASA, and it's FDA cleared. Next slide. And this is our headquarters in California for North America. Next slide. And it's this simple. It's as easy to operate as your smartphone. Touch screen, German engineered, Swiss craftsmanship, 3-year warranty, lifetime system updates. Next slide. And until the end of September, this is the usual price. And this is what comes with it. The pad, the scan, which basically tells you it's working, and a V-spot that you can put on a joint. All we're going to talk about tonight is this on the basic program, or have talked about. Next slide. But we were FDA cleared in June. So we're doing a special promotion until the end of September. Next slide. You get it for $39.90. You get also a backpack, and you don't get a battery anymore. That ended last month. But you can buy a battery for $177, and all of our athletes do, because they take it on all of their treks. We have one athlete that did a 300-mile deal up mountain, and every single time they rested, they beamered to give them more energy. Next slide. It's phenomenal on jet lag, by the way. And it's TSA approved. You can carry it on any flight once we give you a tag that says that, and you don't have to pay for it. It's a medical device. Next slide. Now, so basically the benefits is overall energy, vitality, strength, conditioning, performance, and endurance. And again, the one thing I really want you to get, 8 minutes in the morning and 8 minutes at night. And if you put this on the spine of your residents or your employees, and we'll get into that in a minute. Next slide. So the next time your employees come in and they're stressed, they're restless, there's discomfort, unfocused, low energy, or your residents, think about this. It's because a large part is decreased blood flow. They have a low supply of nutrients, they have a low supply of oxygen, they have a low removal of waste, and decreased cellular energy. And you can help them by giving them free beamer treatments, and which we really suggest for all your employees, advertise free beamer treatments. It'll be an employee benefit. And when they want to buy from you, we suggest you sell it to them wholesale, because they're going to tell their friends about it. And then their friends are going to buy it from you retail. Next slide. So poll 2. Oh, we got them out of order. We got them out of order. Yep. When everybody is getting results, you have the biggest marketing machine there is. All your staff's going to say, man, this is unbelievable. Can I get one? And because FDA cleared, you can sell it to your resident's family. Yeah, and by the way, the doctor's going to want to know about it when they get better, which we can get into that. Next slide. Are we jammed? Next slide.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm flipping through it. 1 second. Let me stop for a second and then come back to the presentation. There we go.
Okay. We're one slide back. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is the Healy. Now, this is just as easy to use, and it blows people's mind how easy it is to use. Next slide. But the first thing I do need to let you know is this is also FDA cleared. Now, what it's cleared for is pain. Pain, both acute, chronic, arthritic pain, and pain due to overexertion, soreness of muscles. Go ahead. Next slide. And I've already read this before, so I'm not going to read it again above. Go ahead. Next slide. So that's what we can guarantee that it is designed to do under the FDA is freedom from pain. And I'm sure you probably have some residents or employees or friends or whatever that have pain that they would like to have relief from without drugs or side effects. And that's what it does with frequency. Drugs, pain is the biggest category of drugs in this country. And now you have something that doesn't take drugs. Next slide. Facts and figures. Before it came to the United States, it was FDA cleared in May. 2,000 doctors used it in 40 countries with 500,000 applications. The owner of this decided that wasn't enough. And when they had the doctors using it, it was much more expensive machine, $10,000 to $40,000, much more complicated. And he got together with an investor, took 4 years and put it into the cloud, and now it's available on smartphones. Next slide. And we are in 45 countries. And so when you become a distributor in Healy, and again, I'm going to go into this next month, you can actually build up where you are profit sharing with the entire world. And that's what these people that build $100 million businesses are planning on doing. Next slide. And this is the gentleman that designed it. At 11, he was studying quantum physics. He's authored over 25 books in 10 languages. He's established many different research facilities. He speaks the world over on science, and he works with top universities and so forth on this technology all over the world. Next slide. This is what it looks like. There's a watch, which is 10 times better than a watch, the Fitbit and all these different ones, the Apple Watch. And this here, that's an antenna, which I'm going to get into. The rest of it is all on your smartphone or tablet. Next slide. The positive effects of microcurrent. It increases ATP production by 500%. That's the energy in the cells, and I won't go into deep on that. It also increases protein synthesis 70%. That's what builds the cells and the proteins in it, and amino acid supports the building blocks of protein synthesis. So all this because of the microcurrent that's going through it. We have over 86 doctors on the board, 155 more want in. And now that we've come worldwide into the United States, and this is some of the more notable ones. Next slide. And this is the world headquarters in Berlin. Next slide. Now, we're going to do a poll. What is this?
You know what? Because I put that up too soon, it closed that poll out. So I'm so sorry. I opened the wrong one too soon. So maybe let's let everybody know what this is, right?
Okay. The next slide will talk about the choices. Let's turn to that. Okay. When you see that, was it an experiment gone bad? A Halloween trick? Body covered with radiation? Can't spell. Blacklight experiment? Or normal body electricity? Let's go back to it. This is a camera developed by NASA that shows our electrical system. Now, if you want to have some fun and you got $1 million, have a party where this camera is there and everybody dancing. And can you imagine what this is off of a guy's head? This is off their hand. If you were in a dark room and everybody was dancing and the $1 million NASA camera was there, everybody would look like this. I don't know how many of you actually have seen the dancing where they put these digital lights on people and turn the lights off. It's phenomenal. Well, we actually can do that with our own electricity. And this is the electricity that we connect into with the Healy. So I just wanted to let you know that this is real. This is what NASA developed to photograph our electricity coming off of our body. Next slide. Now, this research was not done by novices. This gentleman here was a chairman of the Nobel Prize Committee for Medicine. This is an orthopedic surgeon. And so all the stuff I'm going to show you is top medical people. Next slide. Our cells have to have negative charged energy on the inside. We have positive on the out. And if this becomes less negative, then this membrane becomes very hard and nothing can penetrate it, like foods, nutrients, and so forth. Next slide. And this is the results. This is a healthy cell with minus 70 millivolts. As it loses electricity, it starts aging. This is where aches and pains start, inflammations, edema, reduced blood flow, tumors, and it dies. This is what's happening. The Healy puts some electricity back into these cells. Can't do it 100%, but it makes it better. And the next cell is more healthy. Next slide. And again, this is made in Germany. We've got all of the awards, the talk technology. This isn't something made in the backyard. This is of the highest seals of approval. Next slide. Now I'm going to show you how easy this is. The app looks like this when you open it. Resonance app. You click here. Next slide. Every single one of your residents, you put their personal information in here and their picture. And by the way, you can do this on residents 2 blocks away. So if you have 3 or 4 homes, you can do it from one place. And this is where, again, we are connecting to that electrical deal in the body, and it goes all over the world, basically. And here we continue with a database selection of what we're going to scan for. Next slide. Here is a complete list of the different things that we can scan for on what your body is telling us it needs. Everybody starts out with the gold programs for the first 2 or 3 weeks because it cleanses the body. Next slide. And we put our finger here, and this is the resonance that is coming off of your body, that is connecting to. And again, we're in Star Wars, but that's the reason I wanted to show you. We're talking Nobel Peace Prize, we're talking NASA, we're talking GSK, saying that the electrical of the body is the future of medicine. So this is real. Next slide. So here we'll say all the different programs in the Healy Gold cycle, Pure, Care, Release, and so forth that we need to work with on him. And we just push this action and it delivers the signal that needs to be delivered. Next slide. Now, this gives you an idea. And the next time one of your residents come up to you, you have over 120 individual programs for the $2,500 that you can help them with. And we're going to go through some of these. Next slide. The gold cycle, as I mentioned, and I won't go into deep detail, but this is what we use for the first 2 to 3 weeks to help cleanse the body. Next slide. Now, we mentioned before that we really want to support the digestion system, the stomach, the liver, the pancreas, gallbladder, and so forth. Next slide. If you'll notice, gallbladder, small intestine. Next slide. The lungs, the liver, all these different things is supportable right here. And of all these organs that we want to support. Next slide. And then we have gastrointestinal, all the different things that won't be going through it, thyroid. Next slide. Now, if you have a resident that comes up to you and says, I can't sleep, my wife swears by this one. She runs it every night and she has sleep she says she's never had in years. And we also have our dog beside her and it sleeps. We have got a 19-year-old dog, has trouble. But with this app, you now have residents who come up. Now, if they need it every night, then you get them their own one for, I'll get into that. But for the facility, you want the big one, the 2,500, because you can help all the residents with all their different situations. Fatigue. Go ahead, next slide. And this shows how easy. You just press a button and it goes to this next one. Balanced sleep. My wife uses it every night. And it runs for 52 minutes and she sleeps the night through. And once in a while, when she's woke up, she couldn't get back to sleep. She runs it again and goes back to sleep. Next slide. Fitness. Somebody decides that they're getting a little heavy and they don't want it. Here's weight under fitness. You just run the program. It allows all the body to really concentrate on losing weight. I've lost 4 pounds in 4 weeks without doing any further exercise. Without running. I only ran this the first week and just the regular clearing programs. Next slide. 9 nutrients. So remember, we had to support the organs. I just showed you how to do that. The 9 nutrients. Here we have our DNA app, digital nutrition application. And all these different things are available in an app now. Next slide. The DNA app, just mentioned it. And with this little baby here, you just put it next to them and transfer it to the app. and it resonates it into the cells. Next slide. And here we're talking mixtures. If a person has hair problems, brain problems, different things, there's all kinds of nutrition that's put together for a specific problem. Like if people are having a lot of indigestion, run this gastrointestinal system. Next slide. And lungs, all the different nutrition, the B12, the different things that was in the list. Next slide. All this is available to you for all of your copper, magnesium. There was magnesium and potassium, B12. There we go. All this is available with a push a button. And to give you an idea there, when you digest something, I know you haven't studied chemistry, or if you have, the stomach puts things into energy, and the energy is taken in from the blood into the cells. So this is just part of the process. The difference is we're not having to digest it. Through all the research, they've found how to put the vitamins into the actual energy and feed it into your body, and it works. Next slide. And substances for different things, menopause, of course. Go ahead, next slide. There's so many of them here that you'll now be able to offer all your residents when they have problems, or if the doctor suggests different things, or if this app does. Next slide. And same thing. Next slide. And protection programs. If you have somebody that are really concerned about EMF, you can run this cell one and for EMF, and we'll clean it up out of their system. Next slide. Deep Cycle. This was put together by 7 different universities, and once a person has had the Healy for a minimum of 2 weeks, they put this on here where you can go really deep on cleaning of your system. Next slide. And if you have somebody that wants to learn something, by the way, we're talking to universities about using this for education, tutors, and so forth, because golf instructors, because you're actually able to increase your memory, concentration, relaxation for tests. So if you have a resident that wants to learn something new, you can actually help them do that. Next slide. And by the way, this is a phenomenal employee benefit. If you have somebody come in and they're all nervous, you can help them with mental balance. Next slide. Now, I think you'll agree with me when you're using this for your employees and residents, and they say, you know, what are you doing with grandpa or grandma? I can't believe what's happening to them. Now their family wants to have it. And so you're selling it to the family, you're selling it to their doctor, you're selling it to your employee's family. Next slide. And the opportunity is today, and very quickly on the watch, I'm going to go through a little bit of that. Next slide. This is what the watch looks like. We measure the steps, the calories, the kilometers, the blood pressure, and for health, we have health down here. And we're going to click on that in the next slide. This is where it really gets interesting. Your residents can wear this all day. It will tell what's happening with their blood pressure, their all the different things in their system, and that will tell us what apps they need to run. Maybe through the day they're getting full of anxiety, so it says to run this app to calm them down. The part of their system isn't working right, and so the digital nutrition says they need this in their system. Next slide. And there's many other programs that go along with the watch. Next slide. And again, DNA programs and regular programs. Next slide. Now, for you folks that are really wanting to build a business, these are the areas that we're replacing. All the people with the nutritional supplements, now we can digitize them. All the people that are buying the watches, look at 139 billion bought in, or 24.57 billion bought in 2018. The home application for microcurrents and frequencies, we're going to be replacing all these, and so it's easily $1 billion, trillion-dollar business. Next slide. And we did a survey of many of the Healy clients. These are the things they used it for. As you can see, pain was the number one. Health protection. Next slide. And survey on the frequency of use. 80% said they used it daily, 10% as required. Next slide. Survey on effectiveness. 47% of them said it improved my concerns. Another 31% said strongly improvement of my concerns. So needless to say, there were up to 80%. We're close to it. Next slide. And this is what I really want you to look at. In one application, 15% of the people noticed a difference. 2 applications, 30%. 3 applications, 50% of the people in 3 applications. That's why, next slide, 94% of the people recommend it to their friends. Next slide. And the one thing I do have to tell you is Healy is network marketing or relationship marketing. Because of that, by United States law, I have to tell you that the average person in network marketing makes $1,500 to $3,000 a year. There certainly can be earn less and some many more, but I have to tell you that because it is network marketing, it is relationship marketing. Next slide. And we've gone through all the essence of the questions. I hope it's answered your questions on why this is. We increase the ingredient going into the cell. If the organ is healthy, we increase the digestion. And we also absorb the ingredient without going through the stomach. And we monitor the body hour by hour if the ingredient changes are needed. Next slide. So, in summary, the ultimate self-support system. Again, with an investment of only right now $43.80 till September 20, you can have this for your facility. And one person said, well, if I have a battery, can I carry it between facilities? I said, of course. If you have one person running around, because he wanted it for 3 different facilities he had. Again, 8 minutes twice a day. With the investment of $2,500 for the Healy, he can actually stand in one home and do the residence from all 3 of his homes. And until you understand that, as far as that, it just blows mind. That is the future of medicine. It's an electrical system. And this can be a major profit center. And it can all be financed for $160 a month through SunTrust Bank. And if once your residents like they need to come to you for sleep all the time, then you sell them a gold watch bundle with the watch for $10.30, and that pays including the watch apps for 3 months, and that's $100 after 3 months. And so, and some people charge monthly for that and just buy it. Some people sell it to the resident, and then of course when they pass on, the family gets it. Next slide. Okay, next poll. Okay. Next slide. So the next question is to contact me, and we will get you more information that you're looking for and answer whatever questions. Feel free to contact me, and we'll go through whatever questions that you have. What questions do they have at this point?
If anyone has any questions, you can go ahead and type them in now. I did want you to touch on a little bit more of how I know that it helped your wife with her sleep, but you had a specific physiological something that was going on with you that it's helped you with, correct?
I'm sorry, repeat.
You've had something with the Beamer device that helped you specifically,
yeah.
correct?
Yeah. On the Beamer, yes. It's actually done 3 things for me. I used to always be cold. I had to have a blanket over my knees all the time when we were watching TV. I haven't had that in 3 years. I always had to have a jacket when I went out to the mailbox, and I don't have to do that anymore. And then, of course, on my legs, there's full circulation now. So if I get a scratch, it heals in a couple of weeks the way normal people do. And so as far as the Beamer and so forth, the Healy, we've only had it for 3 weeks. I've lost 4 pounds. My wife swears by the sleep. And we've had other people that have bought it that have had pretty tremendous things happen. One person, he had shoulder pain, and they put the treatment on it, and the next morning his girlfriend noticed him carrying a washer up the stairs, and he didn't have any more pain for 2 weeks. Some absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, and it really sounds like it helps with longevity. Like you said, I mean, if you're healing faster, it's almost like the aging signs that you were seeing are doing better, which is where it relates to not only yourself, but your residents in this case. I did have a question come in that was asking about jet lag. I know you did mention, was that the Beamer or the Healy device that helps with jet lag?
That's the Beamer. The Beamer, with the battery, you take it online. You just put it on your back and run it when you're in these 18, 24-hour flights, and it reduces jet lag by 80%. And the other thing for people that have to get up and walk because of leg edema, they put the Beamer on it and they don't have to do that anymore. It increases the circulation during the flight.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's incredible to think about that, right? Somebody who has to sit for long periods of time, circulation would definitely be an issue. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, it doesn't look like I have anybody else asking questions right now, but I'm going to send out this recording and also all of Les's contact information tomorrow. You can expect it tomorrow afternoon sometime. So anyone who missed out at the beginning of this, or if they would like to see more, Les's information will be in this, and I'll also send out the recording. So let him know if you have questions. Thank you so much for joining us, Les, and I'll see you at the next one.
You bet.